The Book of Boba Fett Chapter 4 has dropped on Disney Plus this morning, so if you have not seen the brand new episode yet and are not caught up with the show, click off right now, go watch a Cobra Kai review or something, go watch my Moon Knight trailer reaction, because that's looking pretty dope. But if you have seen the episode and you want to hear some nitty-gritty spoiler thoughts, stay tuned. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Heads Project. I'm John Ordolaza, and today we're talking about Chapter 4 of everyone's favorite intergalactic biography, The Book of Boba Fett. Now, if you guys have been following the show, there's been some division, if you will, between the Star Wars fandom. Like, some people are really digging the show. I was already on board with it with the first episode. Not a lot of people were. They thought it was slow. Second episode, I feel like accomplished the same stuff as the first one did, just in a longer time period, but everyone seemed to be on board with that second episode. The third episode is probably universally frowned upon, you know, with that Fruity Pebble squad right there with the scooters. Not our thing, but this episode had a lot riding on it, and by that I mean there's a lot of angry Star Wars fans, and, you know, content and reasonable Star Wars fans just eyeing this fourth episode and hoping that it was going to be good. It's ridiculous that we're almost halfway through the show. We are now. We're at 7 episodes. This is the middle of the season, and we're still contemplating whether or not this show is going to be good or bad at the end. So I think there was a lot of pressure on this fourth episode, and to be honest, it delivers for the most part. It just barely delivers. So let's talk more about it. There is a lot of flashback in here. So we've been following Boba Fett ever since he rised from the Sarlacc pit and then joined the Tuskens. The Tuskens saved him, and then they were brutally murdered in the little bit of flashback we got in the last episode. And then, you know, he did the proper burial for them. This one picks up right after that. He's riding the Bantha all through Tatooine, and then he sees these flares in the distance during the night. And we hear like a little part of the score, you know, do like that, I don't know, that instrument. It's like a whistle almost, but not really. It is the Mandalorian tune, the Mandalorian jingle. So we knew that was from episode 5, I believe, of season 1 of Mandalorian. It was the episode with the young bounty hunter, gunslinger guy who wanted to make a name for himself, wanted to be legendary, and he teamed up with Mando to take on Fennec Shand. And that was the first time we were introduced to Fennec Shand. She, of course, made an appearance in season 2 of Mandalorian, and of course in the Bad Batch, which Fennec Shand was left for dead. She was shot in the guts, and she was just left there. And of course, there was a post-credit scene of that episode of Mando season 1 where some guy walked up to her, and we were all speculating that it was going to be Boba Fett. And of course, it was revealed in season 2 that it was Boba Fett. But this flashback of episode 4 of the Book of Boba Fett picks up right where that, you know, end credit scene takes place, and it shows us the origins of Fennec Shand and Boba Fett working together. So that was really cool. I thought there was going to be like some tension between the two, but no, she pretty much like accepts it and thanks him for saving her life, and she's kind of like in debt to him. She doesn't say it outright, but she sticks around with him. He tells her his plans to take over Jabba's palace and kind of rule. He wants to do something more with his life now that he's pretty much got a second chance at life. He doesn't want to be just a mindless bounty hunter working for these dumbass guys who don't know what they're doing. He said something along the lines of that, which was kind of funny to me. So she kind of sticks around with him, and that's really cool. I like that. There's that loyalty built right there. We got that kind of shown to us, and that was really cool. But if I gotta be honest, because this flashback does take up a lot of the episode, I just can't help but feel like, do we really need all of these scenes that are connecting the dots? Like, did we really need to see what happens immediately after that end credit scene in season 1 of Mandalorian when Boba Fett saves Fennec Shand? Did we really need to see that? I don't know. They go to the Sarlacc pit that Boba Fett spent a while inside to see if he left his armor in there, because he was not conscious, I guess, when the Jawas took the armor, so he does not remember. He doesn't know that happened. He thinks it's still in the Sarlacc pit. And I believe once they dive in there, they're like slowly creeping in the dead Sarlacc. There's this little one that kind of pops out and is grabbing onto the ship. So I think, what, do they already hatch an egg? Is that like already a new one? Or I don't know how that works. As cool and kind of funny, cute that scene was, I just think it was like nonsensical because we know where he gets his armor from. We know who has it and we know how he gets it back. This is very inconsequential and I feel like it's just serving as filler. That's how it feels to me. So that's how I felt with most of the flashbacks in this particular episode. I feel like a lot of it just didn't need to be here because we know what happens. You don't have to fill in the context about what happens over here during the events of Mandalorian, you know? Then it finally cuts back to the end credit scene of Mando Season 2's finale when Boba Fett and Fennec Shand kill Bib Fortuna, they take over the throne, and then it cuts back to Boba in the, what's it called? The chamber, the stuff that he lays in. You know, he finally gets out of that, the BAFTA tank. Yeah, he finally gets out of that, and the robot comes up to him with his robe, and he says, "You are 100% healed." So hopefully that means we're done with flashbacks because they definitely use the BAFTA tank as a tool, an instrument to introduce the flashbacks. They really didn't have to do that because it came across as kind of comical sometimes. Whenever they would just pan to Boba just sucking on that BAFTA thing and then it just like fades to white and brings us back to like a part of his childhood. Like I didn't need that. If you wanted to do flashbacks, just do them. Like you don't have to come up with an excuse for them. I will say though, with this new iteration of Boba Fett that they're using in this show and in Mandalorian Season 2, I think those flashbacks did serve a purpose in setting up this new iteration of Boba Fett, because if they didn't have any flashbacks in this show and not shown his relationship with the Tusken Raiders and how they affected him, how they changed him, and the same thing with Fennec Shand when he found her, like all of that is context as to why he is different in this show, I think. So in that sense it does work, but I just don't think they need to connect the dots all the time. Like Marvel does it quite a bit, and yeah, they don't have to, but it's never like in your face jarring like, oh, I don't think you needed to do that. So last week's episode ended with the Pike Syndicate. I remember their names now. The Pike Syndicate people and the Mayor's people are now teaming up and they're gearing for some sort of war. Now Boba needs to find some fighters because all he's got are the two little jelly bean gladiator dudes with the giant guts from Return of the Jedi. Like they're not gonna do anything. Maybe they have Danny Trejo by their side. I don't know. That'd be cool. He was in the last episode. He just kind of showed up to the palace like, I brought you a rancor. Boba then goes back to this bar that he was in like 2 episodes ago, in which we see Chrysanthemum just chilling there, sipping on a drink, letting it drip all over his armor and fur. Then he starts beating up these group of guys. That was kind of funny and cool. Then Boba Fett comes in and he tries to make a deal with Chrysanthemum, like, I'll give you a job. You have to work for me. You gotta fight for me because I need warriors. And all Chrysanthemum does is hear the words of Boba Fett and kind of just turns around and we just see like a little bit of smirk. It looked like a little smirk to me, but that was kind of cool, I guess. Now we get to see this this Black Wookiee here more often because that's a really cool concept. I like when they twist the species on their heads. Like we get a nice droid, and then IG-11 and IG-88, they're like these killer machines. But now we got Chewie and Chrysanthemum. Like that's really cool. I like stuff like that. There's this dinner scene where Boba Fett and Fennec Shand are talking to this extended family. I don't know what species they are or their names. I'm sorry, that kind of just flew over my head, but I guess he was trying to convince them to join the fight with him, to take over the sands of Tatooine is what Boba Fett says. And dude, I just love it, man. It may not seem as epic, but I just love Tamara Morrison's portrayal of this character, and I like how he makes things come across more important than they actually are. Like he's making this fight for Tatooine seem very important, despite still being on this freaking planet since 1977. Like, why can't we do something else? The episode ends with Boba Fett and Fennec Shand standing on a balcony at nighttime. They're just having a talk about, dude, we need some soldiers. He's like, I got the credits. He's like, good, because we're gonna need to hire some very deadly people. And then they play again the Mandalorian theme, also composed by Ludwig Göransson, an amazing composer. It's really cool, dude. Dude, he's coming. He's coming, dude. Not Ludwig. No, I'm talking about Din Djarin, Mandalorian. He's coming to the Book of Boba Fett either next episode or in the last two. There's 3 more left. We're already done with this show. It seems to be picking up steam. Those first few were kind of hit or miss. I did really enjoy that first episode, and the second one, yeah, because it was the same thing in my eyes, and the first one just longer. Third one, this one was pretty good, and it's heading in a direction to where it's gonna lead to some epic war finale. I hope it gets some really dope war shots, a really dope war episode, maybe 2. I don't know. That'd be really cool. I'm kind of hopeful that these 3 are gonna end off on a high note and that we could just end this show with 2 big thumbs ups leading into Obi-Wan Kenobi whenever that comes out, because that's also coming out this year, which I'm beyond excited for. So guys, that is my review for the Book of Boba Fett Chapter 4. I believe it's called The Gathering Storm. So let me know down below, what did you think of the episode and where do you stand with the show overall? We got 4 episodes. I think the show is 3 for 1. There's just that last episode I was not into. So hopefully these last 3 really do hit home. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new, guys, and be sure to stick around because there is always more to come.